Hi, can you all hear me quite clearly? Yep, that's great. So I'm Laura Hainey, I'm Principal Design Officer at Architecture and Design Scotland. We are Scotland's design champion and we work on the whole place collaborative approach. And listening today, I think how we view place is different to how other organisations view place, but I'll talk about that later. So we provide leadership in the place principle to help change how Scotland's places are planned, designed, delivered and sustained. So I'm talking about our Climate Action Towns project, and much trailered by John earlier, we are a 3-year funded project. Unfortunately, I'd much rather like it to be longer, to be a rolling programme to enable learning to be embedded. So the main aim of Climate Action Towns is to support place-based climate action in a network of 9 small Scottish towns working collaboratively with local communities, and from this we'll develop learning that can be applied in places across Scotland. So our aims are to work collaboratively with local people and organisations to bring small towns into the climate adaptation conversation. So we do have a particular niche topic focus that is around climate action with community groups. Challenge and explore what types of place-based climate action can be taken in small towns, explore opportunities to support communities to deliver real change on the ground in areas with historically limited action on climate change, and use this work to outline learning that can be shared across Scotland. And those 9 towns, as you can see on the map, are Alness and Invergordon in the Highlands, Blackburn in West Lothian, Hollytown in North Lanarkshire, Stevenston in North Ayrshire, Campbelltown and Argyll and Bute, Annan and Dumfries and Galloway, Drungen Rankinson and Stair in East Ayrshire, and Benarty in Fife. So to identify the 9 small towns, we used a data-driven approach, so starting with all 156 small towns in Scotland with a population between 3,000 and 10,000, we then overlaid a number of indicators, including but not limited to climate risk data from SEPA and Climate Central, where previous Climate Challenge Fund had gone, and whether ANDS had supported the place before, and also the SIMD data. And this led us to the 7 original towns which we worked with in the first year, and then the further 2 from the second year. As it is a short-term funded project, we are, as far as possible, aligning with existing place-based work. So in Campbelltown, Blackburn, Benarty, Invergordon and Drungen Rankinson and Stair, this means that Climate Action Towns are bringing climate action into the development of their community-led action plans, working with a number of pre-existing collaborative partnerships and new collaborative partnerships that have emerged as part of the process. In Annan, Benarty and Blackburn, we're supporting community groups to develop local place plans, in some places as a standalone and in others in conjunction with their community-led action plans. In Hollytown and Stevenston, we've been working with locality teams to incorporate climate action into their work, with a focus on health, green space and well-being. And in both places, this has led to the development of our environmental and green space projects. In Alness and Invergordon, we've been working as part of a strategic collaborative partnership with the Highland Council, Highland Adapts, the North Highlands and Islands Climate Hub, to support Highland Council with the development of the area-based place plan that covers Easter Ross. Now, this is a hypothesis that this systems diagram was developed by one of my colleagues at the end of the first year of Climate Action Towns and focuses on the systems required to enable community-led climate action. It's messy. We do have neater versions of this, but we find that we always go back to this one. And opportunities and climate actions are different in each place and very context-specific. However, the set of core elements is similar across all towns and reflects a general town structure. The local community, activity groups, meeting places, third sector organisations and the local authority, etc. The interesting difference between the towns is how strong the elements are and where links are missing. So the 10 elements that were identified were access to information and knowledge, awareness of climate change, climate leadership and advocacy, community capacity, drive and motivation, funding or access to funding, geographical assets, local and regional strategies or visions, a sense of agency, and support and resource. And the 4 factors that emerged as key catalysts or enablers are the ones that are kind of slightly outlined in purple. So those are climate leadership and advocacy, community capacity, funding and access to information and knowledge. And I've shown a few people in this room this diagram before, and they've reflected that you could change the titles and it would represent a similar system. And so we have used this in the second year of the project as a tool, looking every 6 months at each of the places to see where the strengths and weaknesses are in the system, and if that reflects how well things are going with regards to developing the project or the outcomes for the project. And so focusing on those 4 key things. So through Climate Action Towns Gathering, we're bringing together people from across the 9 Climate Action Towns, initially online and then in person at the Ending Shed in May this year. This is allowing participants to make connections and learn from each other, as well as the other community groups and projects that are invited to present. Through requests from this, we collated our selection of examples of community-led climate action, which is now on the ANDS website. And this builds on the access to information and knowledge element of the systems diagram. Unlike Ansha, we have a very good video as well, but it's 20 minutes rather than just 2 or 3. But you can find it on the ANDS website. You'll hear from 5 or 6 of these people talking about climate change and its impact on their places, and it's worth a watch. So in order for community-led climate action to happen, stronger community capacity is needed. So in each of the 9 towns we've got support from SCDC, Scottish Community Development Centre, to develop or to deliver the Building Stronger Communities training. Although this has morphed into different forms, it's become more bespoke per place as we're working through. In Campbelltown, this led to the development of Campbelltown Community Action Network, a network of community organisations who meet quarterly to ensure that their aims are aligned. And in Invergordon, it inspired the Umbrella Group to develop a community-led action plan and seek further support from SCDC. And in Blackburn, the Anchor organisation reviewed their operations, developed a new plan and took on the lead role of the Blackburn Future Group and West Lothian Council. The way we're working in each place to discuss climate action varies depending on the place. We've used a number of methods as well, the place standard with climate lens, a lot of mapping and ideation, discussions, walk-arounds, and delivering or contributing to community events. And this year we've run a series of adaptation workshops in the town exploring local climate risks and details and collaboratively developing responses specific to the local area. These workshops have brought together community groups along with officers from the local authority and broke down the barriers of people being able to know who to report floods to, who the biodiversity officer is if they want to plant trees in their local park. It's just made the connections that hopefully have some sort of legacy. We've then used an illustrator to help translate those ideas into a visual of the place adapted to the impacts of climate change. So this, for example, is Blackburn with the suggestions that have come from the different community groups, and they're now using that as part of their Blackburn Future Plan, which is their community plan. It's not what it will be, but it's a potential future for the place. And we've since used this with some sticky dot voting to see what the consensus is and what people would value as the best move forward. Climate action is a wide topic area, and we found that in each of the towns a different area of focus. So from getting around in Blackburn, so pretty much the 20-minute neighbourhood, living well locally, to community resilience in Campbelltown, community growing in Hollytown, and biodiversity and adaptation to climate change in Stevenston. Bringing climate change issues down to a local scale and with place-based focus that led to place and people-appropriate potential projects, which we hope, through embedding their work in wider structures, has potential for delivery and support. And to support these developments, we're consistently sharing knowledge of funding opportunities, as we've seen so far. 4 of the towns able to access funding to start small-scale climate action projects. This is just key learning from the project, which John might have me cross out. But so community climate action, like any community action, requires strong community capacity or support to get started and keep going. In all times where the training has taken place, it's brought new energy and perspective. A key to successful engagement with groups is for us to be in the place, as you were all talking about earlier, speaking to people. Local impacts of climate change are much more tangible and of a scale in which people feel they can act, whereas climate change is typically discussed as a global issue. We've been able to bring it down to this is what's happening in your street, in your place, and here's how you could act. Climate change is still not the biggest issue for communities in 2023. Bringing the towns together in the gathering has been a great success, and we're able to, the Inspiring Change website has been published to allow communities access to real projects and stories in other places across Scotland that could be on and replicated. Thank you.